Today's story is one that details the plight of a high school student versus his principal. The year is 2011, the location Shelton High School in Shelton, Connecticut. It's nearing the end of the school year and a general buzz of excitement is palpable amongst the student body as summer break inches closer. Oh, and another catalyst for excitement, it's almost time for senior prom. Students are asking each other out in creative ways, hoping to lock something in for the big day, but one student might have gotten too creative. Perhaps taking things a bit too far, at least according to the school's headmaster. See, one morning, school administrators arrived to Shelton High School with this plastered across the front of the school. Sonali Rodriguez, will you go to prom with me? Hit me up, Tate. Tate was a student named James Tate, and his bold proposal to Sonali would end up getting him banned from the prom. Now, this ended up kind of being a big deal. The student body was outraged over the ban, the internet was outraged over the ban, and eventually the mainstream news media would become outraged over the ban. So what would be the resolution here? Well, today I tell you all how James Tate supporters banded together to put the pressure on this school's headmaster and get the prom ban reversed. This is the story of James Tate's prom ban. Today's video is sponsored by Extra Wallets. My link extra.com/wavywebsurf gets you up to 25% off their entire store. Link in the description and more about their wallets and their gift bag deal later. The story begins with James Tate and two other friends sneaking onto school property in the dead of night. Using a ladder and a collection of cardboard letters that James had arduously cut out himself, he adornishes the exterior wall of the school with his prom proposal to his friend Sonali. The group works quick and leaves school property, returning around 7 a.m. for the start of the school day. And naturally, when students start arriving, they're impressed with the boldness of the proposal, and this thing kind of just came across as a hilarious prank in the same vein. People respected James for doing this. James became the man of the hour, and even more impressed was Sonali, who promptly accepted his prom proposal. James got his date locked in. The students loved this thing, but the school's administration and headmaster Beth Smith, they were kind of pissed about it. Shortly after the school day began, James and his two accomplices were called to the office, and after some review of the situation, all three were issued a one-day in-school suspension for trespassing and defacing school property. But at the time, James wasn't worried about some one-day in-school suspension. He was the big man on campus and got his prom date locked in. Who cares about a one-day ISS? That was until the school's headmaster turned the tables and completely shadow-realmed James's hopes of going to prom. Citing some arbitrary rule created by the school system, any student suspended after the date of April 1st would automatically be forbidden to attend that year's prom. And since James did his proposal in early May, he was gonna be banned, and he was totally screwed. Whispers of James's prom ban spread around the school, and students who had come to revere him over the course of the day thanks to his proposal, well, they were quickly outraged by this newsflash. Students felt like the punishment didn't fit the crime here. At worst, it was a harmless prank, and at best, well, this was a pretty creative and romantic gesture towards Sonali. So in an act of protest, the students staged an in-school sit-in. They shared what had happened to Twitter and created a Facebook group. And this Facebook group would wind up going viral, amassing hundreds of thousands of followers, becoming the impromptu headquarters for James Tate supporters and people who wanted this prom ban reversed. The school's administration was well aware of the unrest that the decision caused, but felt as if it would die down shortly because, well, students can only do so much. But what they underestimated was the power of social media and this story spreading around the world and potentially going viral, which it did, and eventually it would land in the hands of the mainstream media.
Coons James Tate has been banned from the Shelton High School prom because of the way he asked his date to go to the big dance. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this story.
He got the girl, but guess what? Not the prom. James Tate put up these letters on the entrance of his Connecticut high school asking his friend to prom. She said yes, but the school said nope.
And News 8 is, of course, following the latest developments this morning as the public outcry grows for Shelton schools to let James Tate go to the prom. News 8's Kent Pierce is watching this outcry grow. You just have to watch the Facebook page to see that, huh?
Yeah, the Facebook page, they've gotten about 500 more people liking it just in the past hour.
Within 48 hours, James's prom ban became a national headline, and it seemed like everyone was on James's side. Despite the mounting pressure both online and offline to reverse this ban, Headmaster Smith wasn't budging. In fact, she would actually go on a televised press conference and double down on the decision.
Shelton High School is a learning community where students are expected to meet high academic and behavioral expectations. There has been a practice at Shelton High School for many years that students receiving an in-school or out-of-school suspension after April 1st for any reason would not be allowed to attend the prom. This regulation is reinforced over the course of the spring by daily PA announcements, posted signage in common areas of the building and in classrooms, as well as informational letters and automated phone messages to parents. These communications are intended to remind our students and parents of the high school expectations and consequences.
James was understandably upset by the school's hardline stance on his prom ban, and on many occasions he would be invited to speak publicly on the matter in interviews. And you really can't help but feel bad for the guy, as he seems like such a chill dude and really just had his best intentions at heart.
Tate says he had hoped for a compromise, but is not surprised by the decision.
I don't think they would gain anything if they caved at this point. I think it was the best decision they could have made.
Today you heard about, obviously, what the headmaster had said. She read from a brief statement, but basically, long story short, she stood firm and said that her decision is what it is and it's not changing. What was your reaction to that when you heard?
It seems right, or expected. I feel like at this point they would gain nothing by caving in. But obviously I was disappointed, but my feelings still haven't changed because the outcome hasn't changed.
The headmaster wasn't budging, but this fight wasn't over, as it seemed like as every day passed, James would get more and more support. Popular figureheads and celebrities would come out of the woodwork to support him. He was on Jimmy Kimmel, and there were professional athletes who were once alumni of Shelton High who would speak out in support of James Tate. It seemed like everyone was on Team Tate and nobody was on Team Smith here.
I think it's really important to stand up against this ridiculous administration decision. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So anyways, we're all on your side. Hopefully you guys work everything out.
Tate, I support you. I appreciate the fact that you didn't ask her to prom over text like most of your friends probably did. I thought it was nice. And I don't want you to take this as a bad experience. I think what you did was nice, and who knows, maybe your headmistress, her heart made out of ice, will melt. Maybe you'll be able to go to prom.
Eventually, calls for this prom ban reversal got so loud that they reached government officials for the state of Connecticut. And this is where you would actually see a glimmer of hope for James Tate here. You can't make this shit up. Connecticut Congressman Jason Perillo and Sean Williams had been following the James Tate prom ban story since it broke in early May, and they had had many of their constituents writing and calling into their offices requesting them to do something to reverse the ban. So they actually did. On May 13th, these two congressmen announced that they were working on drafting an amendment that specifically would prevent schools in the district from banning students from prom for a suspension occurring in the last month of the school year, instead giving schools the option to issue community service instead of a ban. So essentially, this was an entire amendment to a bill that specifically covered this situation that these two congressmen were writing at the time of this going down. And once the news came out that these two congressmen were on the case, Headmaster Smith finally folded. In a televised briefing, she announced that James Tate's ban would be reversed.
I have considered the effect that this incident has had on the individual student, on the entire student body and my staff, and the community. In an effort to maintain a focus on teaching and learning, I have decided to implement alternate consequences on a case-by-case basis, beginning with James Tate, and for other students who received internal suspension after April 1st, which would then permit some to attend the Shelton High School prom.
The impossible had been done. The James Tate supporters had gotten Headmaster Smith to reverse her ban. And this seemed like an impossible feat because getting school administration to reverse a punishment decision is just something that you don't hear of in high school systems. In an ironic twist of fate, the once prom banned James Tate was given impromptu prom king status by fellow classmates, and James and Sonali finally got to enjoy their prom together. The event was on June 4th. It was Hawaiian themed and all rejoiced.
Tonight's theme, a night in Hawaiian paradise. This room is just waiting to explode. James and Sonali will sit at table 50 and enjoy prime rib. They came out of the limo. They're a sharp-looking couple, but that's all you're going to get. James and Sonali have decided not to do any more media interviews. They're inside enjoying their prom, having a night to remember, and they certainly will for a long time to come.
Whew. But yeah, that's the story of James Tate's prom ban and how the internet and the media and Facebook and everybody came together to get this guy's ban reversed. But yeah, I want to give a major shout out to Extra for sponsoring today's video. Extra wallets are not only stylish, they're extremely functional, boasting plenty of card space, and this Parliament wallet has a unique switch function that gives you quick access to all of your cards at once. It's RFID protected and trackable thanks to a solar-powered tracking card sold by Extra. Simply sync the card to your phone using Bluetooth and put it in your wallet. If you ever lose or misplace your wallet, you can track its exact location via an app using GPS. And you can do stuff like this. Hey Siri, where's my wallet?
Okay, done.
Right now, if your Extra order is over $150, you'll get a free gift bag. And of course, I've got a discount link for you guys to click below. Extra.com/wavywebsurf. That gets you up to 25% off site-wide. Well guys, make sure you let me know what you thought about today's video down below in the comment section and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.